Have you ever encountered a hurdle with launching or growing your business? Listen, there are two things that run a business, the back end and your soft skills.
Telling you right now, if these aren't in place, you'll lose clients and you'll lose money. You don't want that? Well, you're in the right place.
Hey, I'm Dana.
Hey, I'm Sarah.
We're your hosts of the Entrepreneur Encounter, and we're going to give you a behind-the-scenes glance into our businesses, give you genuine feedback, tips and tricks, plus occasionally bring on guests that care about supporting you to grow your business organically and nurturing authentic relationships. Are you ready? Welcome back to another fun-filled and educational episode of the Entrepreneur Encounter. This week, we are excited to talk about something that I have been seeing trending on social media. It feels like more like a cold pitch email, but how to personalize it and really make it effective for your business as an organic marketing strategy. With us today is Debra Locker. She is the owner of a boutique public relations agency specializing in the lifestyle, beauty, spa, travel, and wellness markets, and is a true champion of female entrepreneurs. I truly enjoyed our conversation back when we did our pre-recording call. So, Debra, would you like to take a few minutes to introduce yourself?
Sure. And thanks for having me on, guys. Hi, I'm Debra. I have worked in PR since 2001. I started actually in the spa industry, which is a really lovely way to begin any career. Before doing PR, I was a television journalist. I was a reporter and a producer. I did that for 7 years. And a lot of people do go from journalism into PR. It's a very normal track because they're very similar. You write a lot, you talk a lot. It's all about relationships. So again, started PR in 2001 in the spa industry. I had my son in 2006, and then I started my firm in 2008, and that was by design. And I know a lot of women do this when they become moms, but I did not want to have to go to an office 9 to 5. I wanted to be my own boss. I actually always wanted to be my own boss. I'm very bossy. You guys probably do. It works better when I'm in charge. So I started my firm in 2008. So we've been around 16 years, actually, which is exciting. And as you said, Dana, we specialize in lifestyle clients. So a lot of lifestyle, luxury, and we do mainly work with women who own businesses. We've established a very specific niche that is not only a lot of fun, but it's also very rewarding.
That does sound like a lot of fun. When you talk about journalism, it reminds me of when I was in middle school. I took a journalism class because I thought it would be the coolest thing to do. But obviously, as time went on, that changed pretty quickly.
It is a fun job, and I have so many friends that are journalists. TV journalism is very competitive, and you're not always covering things that are happy. You're often covering things that are not happy. And I found that I was becoming very desensitized to life in general, which was really concerning me. But no, I highly encourage, actually, when people tell me that they want to go into journalism, I highly encourage it.
That is something I would have never thought of, like it desensitizing you.
Yeah.
Interesting. I could tell that's a whole episode in itself. I want to focus on the competitive edge because I'm sure there's a lot of soft skills that you had to nurture and develop and that you pulled from that experience into the firm that you launched. One of those that we briefly talked about was specifically with email etiquette and customizing. So why is it important not to be a robot when sending emails? Emphasis on not.
Right. Well, I mean, who wants to talk to a robot? No one. I mean, PR people, you expect them to be nice and chatty, especially in what I do. I feel like you really should not be a robot. But in any industry, when you're sending an email, put a hello at the top. I mean, we've all received those emails that just start with whatever the person needs. There's not a hello. There's not a hope you're well. They may not even know you, and they're still not doing an intro. At least take time to say hello. Spell the person's name correctly. That is so important because Debra, you can spell it several ways. So just take a second to look and make sure that you're writing their name correctly. That means a lot to people. If you know the person, you can certainly say, hey, it was great to see you at that party last week, or, oh, I loved reading that article that you recently wrote. If you don't know them, it's totally okay to say that. Be like, I've been reading your articles for a long time. I'm a huge fan of your work and I wanted to reach out. Or if it's a sales sort of thing, again, I don't know you. I looked at your LinkedIn. I think that we could do some partnerships. So again, just that warm welcome while you're writing sort of thing. Just keep the whole thing warm. It doesn't have to be lengthy. You don't have to use all the adjectives in the world in your email. Just keep it warm and flowy. When I find that I'm sending an email that's fairly long, which I hate to do, I really hate to send a long one, I will definitely bullet things out to make it just look less long. Also, close nicely too. In addition to the people not saying hello, sometimes there's not a thank you or have a great day, any of those things. So again, just have your little closing. Thank you. Thanks so much. Best. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. That sort of thing. Again, just establish that you are a nice person. You're not a robot. You actually sent this. It wasn't sent by AI. Those personal things that you can do. They're so important.
I love that. It's so funny because when I worked in my corporate job years ago, even in office, they would still spell my name incorrect. And I'm just like, we've been working together for 2 years now, and you still don't know how to spell my name. You just got to double check like what you're sending out. I'm all about the warmth and making sure that people are, have a good day, because I really want you to have a good day. So seeing emails that are robot-y, like I said, it's not fun.
Yeah. And I did not mention mass emails, but we've all wanted to send them. When you have a list of like 100 people that you need to send the same message to, it's very simple to just load that in and send it. But don't do that. Take the time. That is something that as a PR person, I will always do that. So it might take me a little bit longer than it would take other PR people to send out something, but it's because I send it personalized. I don't just hit a button. And journalists know that. They absolutely know when they're getting the exact same message as other people, and they don't like that. Just as anyone else in the world doesn't like feeling like everyone else. So again, just take the time, set aside the time. And again, if you know that person, be prepared to write that cute little intro at the top. It makes a big difference.
With that thought process, because I'm a big believer in personalizing and adding whatever it is you can, because just using the Sarah name as an example, I know multiple Sarahs and almost all of them spell their name differently. And most of the time, I don't come across people spelling my name wrong, but they say it wrong. So segueing just briefly into cold calling, try and figure out how to say their name is also important. But anyone who knows me knows that I love a good template. So like if I am going to be trying to email 10 to 20 people per day, if I'm sending the same meat and potatoes of introducing people to the idea of our soft skills membership that we have available, that part I will keep the same, but it will be highly visible in my template, personalized here. Like each paragraph essentially has a way to make it personable and warm. And it's not just, I sent this out to 20 people. It doesn't even have your name in it. I'm just hoping for the best. And maybe one or two of these spaghetti pieces will stick to the wall.
Absolutely. And the templates are a great way also to teach your team or to educate your team, because I do feel, and I'm not going to categorize at all because varies by generation. I feel like a lot of this is not being taught. The soft skills, which I know is what you all really focus on, it's just not being taught anymore. I mean, my parents made me, like, if I don't send a thank you card, I get guilt over it. So it was the way that I was raised. And I know when you guys spoke with Liz, that was one of the things she said too, like handwritten thank you card is just so important. And I feel like with our generation, we were absolutely taught that. Now, my son is 17. I'm trying to teach him that and trying to be enforceful. But I mean, for them, their lives are based on texting and DMing. That's the way that they feel that they should communicate, which we didn't grow up with that. So again, it's a lot of how it's being taught now. I mean, at least if you're going to send a text, there's a lovely way to send a text and a lovely way to write it. I feel like, again, we were given the benefit of being taught a lot of these things, thankfully, and it's just not being taught as much. And it's also, unfortunately, not really being taught in school. Like, I would love for there just to be classes on soft skills, and I don't feel that there are, but it makes such a difference.
I genuinely keep at least one thank you card in an envelope in my bag so that like I'm at this networking event, I may like quickly scribble something down and send it to them.
Yeah, I love stationery. Actually, I have a collection of stationery. I'm such a nerd about it. So I would love for kids to start having that love again, because I think it's just a lovely expression.
Okay, so I'm going to focus on the fact like your 17-year-old and like this generation are just big on texting. Is there a way? a technique or I don't know, a cheat sheet or something where you feel like you can take that life lesson that we had, personalizing and warming and sending the thank you notes afterwards and repurposing it or revitalizing it in the form of a text message or like a Marco Polo or some sort of like video message to make it even stand out a little bit more?
Gosh, that's a great question. And no one has ever asked me that. I mean, still in a text, I still say hi to people. I mean, they're like my closest friends, but I cannot start a text with just like something. I have to start it with hi or hello or hey, or I hope you're having a great day. And again, I think that that's just part of, it's just your etiquette. And I also still say thank you in text. So you can write a text similar to writing. I mean, you really can. I have gotten, my son's name is Bryce. He's now applying to colleges and all these things. And so he really is having to learn, again, the email lessons that he not been taught. He copies me on everything. And I'm not a helicopter mom. This is his gig. He's choosing the schools, that sort of thing. But I just asked to be copied so I can keep a copy and just so I can know what he's saying. And he does know how to say hello and hope you're doing well. I'm hoping that I taught him those things. But again, it's such an easy thing to do and it doesn't cost you anything. And it does make such a difference.
I love that. I'm going to really like mull over that of how can I just and text because, you normally get like the networking events, you get these business cards and they always have their cell phone number on them. So instead of an email that, they're not going to read today or maybe even until tomorrow morning, I'm going to test that and I will let everyone know what happens.
Yeah. And you can tell you say, hey, I just saw your speech. This was one point that I took away that I thought was awesome. Have a great day. And that can be just a quick text. Or, hey, I was in this meeting with you. I loved your green jacket. I'd love to maybe have coffee at some point. Actually, I just attended a meeting of just different presidents of businesses. And I was invited by a lovely lady who owns a social media brand here in Louisville. And everyone there was so fantastic. Obviously, we all exchanged business cards, but we all either texted or emailed immediately. Like we just knew inherently to do that. It was just a lovely, lovely connection. But again, they were people closer to our age who, own businesses. So it is advantageous to email after a meeting. But yeah, I hope that we're all teaching our kids these things.
Yeah, for sure. For me personally, I would rather text or call than have somebody send me a DM on social media. Obviously, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, we want to have that communication with the people that are in our audience, right? So I always tell people that what you are saying out in the interwebs only goes a long way. Like to really get to know somebody, you have to get on a call with them just to have a conversation. And I tell people, I'll give you my number. I'm okay with getting on the phone. I'm okay with texting. I'd rather that than have 1,000 followers on Instagram. I don't know. Maybe it is a generation thing. Some people are kind of weird about it. Like they're like, I don't want to do that.
Yes. DMs are tricky. They're very tricky. And I'll talk about it for a little while. Journalists hate them. They will flat out say, do not DM me. Because a lot of freelance writers and stuff that I work with, I mean, they're getting 200 emails a day. They don't need to also have to check their DMs. So you learn with journalists that you just really don't DM. With influencers, they're not journalists. They're people who go to events and write about them and get paid for them or take photos. Sometimes they don't get paid. For a lot of them, it's like their second job, that sort of thing. They actually love DMs. And I feel that that's because their life exists on social media.
I love that. So that is a good example of like knowing your audience and how they prefer to communicate. I work with wedding planners. They are not checking their email.
Right. You have to know the way that that person likes to communicate because there are people that I do work with and I would never send them an email. I only text them. So again, it is about getting to know who you're working with and just remembering that. But when it's that initial outreach, it can be really tricky. Again, with influencers, I will almost always do a DM, but I will say, hey, I've been following you for a while. I just saw this post. I would really love to talk with you. Again, with journalists, I don't ever DM to start out with, unless they say like in their bio, please DM me. And then I will. Which other people that I would ever work with, other professionals or potential clients, I would never start out with a DM. I would research them. I typically start out with LinkedIn, actually, and request them via LinkedIn. And if I don't have their contact information, obviously the LinkedIn is important because it comes with the contact information. Obviously, if they don't link in with you, then you can try Instagram. I don't really ever try Facebook for that first outreach because it's way less formal. And then obviously, search them, Google them, They most likely have a website. There's most likely an email address or a contact form on their website. So there's many, many ways to get to people. PR people are specialists at that because we have to do it a lot. But just, again, take a little time. It does. I mean, like, I'm not going to tell you that I love to sit down and write 10 fresh emails to people that I don't know. I don't. But that's why I like to work with the same people over and over again. It just makes things easier. Just take the time, put in a little effort. I do prefer email is the first outreach, but I'm a little bit older. But when they're like, hey, I took the time to look at your website. I think it's interesting that you've done this, this, and this. Like, if you send me an email like that, I will absolutely reply to you. I will have coffee with you. I will take the time. But if it's just a basic, not even my name, I'm just not gonna.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that either. Like I was saying before, like I'm all about like conversation, but if you just send an email and just say, hi, blah, 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 not even say my name. Like,
I love that. I'm writing this down. It's true. I'm a big note taker. Hey there, listeners. Ever feel like you're struggling to connect with customers or lead your team effectively? That's where soft skills come in.
Entrepreneur Encounter isn't just another podcast. We're a community dedicated to helping early stage entrepreneurs like you master the soft skills that make or break a business.
Technical skills are important, but without communication, collaboration, and confidence, your business might never get off the ground to the next level.
In our membership, Dana and I share actionable insights and tips to help you nurture the soft skills you need to thrive.
Give you access to bonus content, workshops, and a network of like-minded entrepreneurs who are all on the same journey.
We'll teach you how to boost your confidence,
become a leader who inspires and motivates your team,
navigate conflict like a pro,
to resolve disagreements without drama and build stronger relationships,
communicate clearly and concisely, get your message across, build trust, and close the deal.
If you're ready to take your business to the next level, join the circle by clicking the link in the show notes. So shifting gears a little bit, we are going to work under the impression that all of our amazing listeners are going to take more time to personalize either their DMs, their emails, their LinkedIn connection messages. But let's talk about handling rejection, because even with a warm introduction, I would say every 10 outreach emails, you may get maybe 2 or 3 that respond. But how do you keep going to get to those 2 or 3?
Definitely. Rejection, I mean, it just happens. And in PR, it happens a lot. And PR people know that. I mean, it's a thing. We all know it. We all can handle it. You will be told no a lot. And that's really in any industry, but especially anything that's salesy, which PR is a type of sales. When I reply to someone and it's a no, depending again on what the situation is, like I do have a lot of people that try to sell me like services, like podcasting services, and just like things that are not a fit for me. I almost do always reply to everyone because I think it's just important. As long if they took the time to get my name right and stuff. And I'll just say, this is not a fit for me right now, but I appreciate you writing. Or if something is not a fit, but I know someone that it would be a great fit for, and I know that that person wouldn't mind me referring them, then I'll refer, hey, this is not a fit for me, but you might want to try X PR person. She does that a lot. Obviously, don't do that if someone doesn't want you referring them. As far as handling rejection, I take it as an opportunity to just try a different way. So if you can't go in the front door, maybe go in the window on the side. But again, with PR, they may not like the initial pitch, but then you're going to refine it or retune it and maybe add some things to it. And that might be like, okay, yeah, I totally get it. So again, think about maybe why they said no, and then look at what you're asking for or what you're trying to say. If you have good relationships with people, they will typically tell you why they're saying no. I mean, there's journalists that I work with all the time, they're friends, and they'll be like, hey, I don't like this angle of it, but can you find out if this is happening? Because I'm definitely covered that. So when someone's willing to give you some feedback, take it and work with it. But yeah, I don't take no's personally. I've had many of them, but I do look at it as an opportunity to change up what I'm doing and to try a different approach. Also, Dana, I think you and I spoke about this whenever we initially spoke, but I do have businesses come to me sometimes wanting PR, and actually probably 50% of my time, my business, where I will say no, but I won't just say a flat out no. I'll say, you probably need like 1 more year of business. You need to have your social media be stronger. You need to probably hire some people and start doing more distribution, because in order for me to say that you're carried in 10 states, you truly need to be carried in 10 states. So in those sorts of situations, I will always give them a reason. And typically they come back to me like a year later or after they've done those things. And they'll be like, thank you. I've done them. Now do you think that we're ready? Because with what I do with PR, if you're not ready, there's no reason to hire me. And I tell people that a lot. Like, I'm not going to just take you and take your money. And there are people that do that. But I'm not going to. My reputation's too important to me to have you out there saying that I did nothing for you. So if you're not ready, then there's no reason for us to move forward, because I'm going to take your money and have you be disappointed. I like to give that feedback. I've had people who have checked in with me periodically just saying, hey, we just relaunched our site. Would you mind taking a look at it and letting me know if you think it reads well or has great key messages? I'm always happy to do that. And I don't charge to do that. Again, you can take a no and you can really, really learn from it.
Yeah, take the opportunity. We talk about that a lot. You're going to have rejection. You just got to overcome that challenge and learn from it. And like you said, see why it happened and figure out what you can do moving forward.
So an example for myself, I know I've talked about this on the podcast a couple of times, so I'm going to talk about it one more time. I was connected with someone in commercial real estate to do virtual assisting and handle a little bit of social media marketing for her. And when I met with her, she was not new to the industry, but new to delegating and was really in a phase of growing. So her budget was slim. She was very candid. She said that she could not afford my pricing at the moment. And I was like, well, what is your budget? Just to see. I was curious to see what I could maybe work with. It was extremely low. So I told her, I'm very honest. You will not find a virtual assistant based in the United States with that price point. I was like, I have someone on my team who I have vetted, and she's been with me for like 2 years at this point, based in the Philippines. And that is her price point. So, and I know she does good work. So I'm going to refer you to her outside of Dana's Desk umbrella, basically. But I know she does good work. And she worked with her for like over a year. And then I stayed in touch with her via LinkedIn, just like liking and commenting. Hey, how is things going with your business? Is there anything I can share for you? Like very small gestures that didn't take a lot of time. And she ended up coming back when she was a little bit farther ahead, I guess. And her budget was increased, and she did end up hiring me, which was great. It was like my unicorn example of how this works. More recently, I did have another, I don't know why it's real estate, but we had a connection. I sent her my references, and she sent me an email a couple of days ago and was like, for the review, like, I think I'm going to go in a different direction. And instead of just saying, great, thanks for letting me know, I wish you the best, which is scary to ask for. But I asked, I was like, well, what direction are you going in? Even though you don't want to work with me, I'd like to at least help provide some sort of referral, because she is local. And so I may know someone, even if it's not myself.
Yes, very true. And I refer people constantly, actually. I don't only just refer other PR people, but when my clients need things, I have this just whole list of like go-to people that I'm like, okay, she can do this, he can do that. And people really appreciate that. Not only does the person that you're helping appreciate it, but the person that you're referring does. A ton of my business is based on referrals. But back to referrals, when someone refers you, thank them. I have referred people and they've gotten jobs and I've never gotten anything. So again, that's when I pull out my trusty note cards and write a lovely thank you note. I sometimes will include a gift card in there. I just feel like when someone refers you, you need to thank them. And if it doesn't work out, you can also say, hey, this didn't work out. This is why, but I really appreciate your referral.
Yes, that simple thank you. I love saying thank you because I mean it. Like, you're doing something for me. Thank you so much for that. Talking about the thank you card. So I have a client. I've been with her for almost 3 years now. My first client when I started my business, right? Once a year, we go to Podfest, and that's the only time I see her. It's pretty cool. And this past year, on my way, I was like, I'm going to go get her a card. So like I went and got her a card, I wrote in it and I gave it to her. And she's like, what's this for? I'm all like, you have no idea how much you've helped me grow as a person, as a business owner, whatever. Like, I had so much gratitude for her. So I gave her the card and she opened it and she started crying. And she's like, But she was so thankful. Like she wasn't expecting it. I was not expecting anything from her, but it made me feel good to be able to say, hey, thank you for doing what you've done for me. I thought it was cool.
Yes. Gratitude is so important.
I do go out of my way to do referrals. And I'm wondering about my follow-up. I do send a quick thank you, but I'm wondering if I should switch that up a bit personally on how I say thank you for referrals. Because I have a client, I think we've been together for 2 years, and he's sent me many a business with like one-off projects or like some long-term, that didn't say as long as he did, but still more than 3 months. So it was a lot of safety in my business. I constantly go to him for feedback. So brush up on my benefits, I guess, my gratitude benefits for the long-term clients.
Yeah. I mean, a card always works, but gift cards definitely work, like an Amazon gift card and that sort of thing. I've done like super high-end candies. I don't usually do flowers just because it's just kind of boring. I take a lot of people to lunch, dinner, drinks. There's all kinds of ways to say thank you.
I love that. I feel like I could talk forever for all the things of like, just keep going. But before we wrap up, do you have any final tips or advice for our listeners, particularly those that are just kind of starting out on their entrepreneurship journey so that they can set that solid foundation with gratitude and resilience of reach out as well as like surviving the no season?
Yeah. I don't know if I have advice to hit all of those, but definitely being an entrepreneur is not easy. I mean, I give major props to every entrepreneur that I know. In fact, I think what we do is probably the hardest job, regardless of your industry, but just owning your own thing and being your own boss is a lot. It's not for everyone. And I tell people that a lot. It's really not. You have to be so motivated and such a self-starter. And that's just not everybody. And that is okay. You are probably an amazing employee, an amazing one. I mean, I wasn't a great employee. Again, I go back to the beginning. I'm bossy and I didn't like to be told what to do. I think back of like some of my bosses. I'm like, oh my God, they probably just hated me. But that just wasn't me. It's not my personality. So know who you are, know what you want to do. It's not easy. You're going to work a lot. There's going to be a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of weekends. What I tell people about being an entrepreneur typically, and my dad was an entrepreneur, so I grew up with his lifestyle, is that you work all the time, but you have amazing flexibility. So for example, the PGA tournament is in Louisville this week. It's actually just like 5 minutes from my house. So I took the afternoon off yesterday and I went out there for the practice rounds and it was so much fun. And yes, I was networking while I was out there, but I was also out in the sun having fun. If I worked in a normal 9 to 5, probably couldn't have done that. I mean, you maybe could have slid it by the boss, but I was able to do that. However, I was up that morning working and then I worked until 9 o'clock last night. So again, it's all about choices. It's all about the lifestyle that you want. And for me, flexibility is enormous. It's one of the most important things to me. So yeah, just know what you want, but really know who you are.
That's a good one. Yeah. Flexibility. I love that. We can just take a random Tuesday off or just like yesterday, I had to go to the kids' school yesterday. I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to work an extra 2 hours later or whatever the case may be. So you have to have the discipline and you have to be motivated. Because if you're not, then what are you doing? Like, you're just there.
And I am fortunate that my office is in my home. I mean, it is an actual office. I close the door and all those things. It is a true office. But if I want to go put a load of laundry in the dryer, I can also do that. Again, you just have to know if you're that person, because there are some people that if they go put a load of laundry in, they're never going to come back to their desk. So you just have to be your own boss. And that is not for everybody.
You're speaking my language. That's the flexibility I like. But I have it on my watch to like remind me to stand up because I do get stuck sometimes like in the zone. And so that's what I'll do. I'll like walk, I'll get up and I'll go to the kitchen and I'll maybe load or unload the dishes and then I'll come back and I'm ready to rock and roll, or I'll go switch the laundry over. You never know. So this makes me feel more accomplished at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I feel like even if you're not your own boss, so many people are just working from home now, even if they are part of a team. I mean, it's challenging. We all had to learn some stuff when COVID happened, for sure. Fortunately, I was already working from home and loving it, but I know it was an adjustment for a lot of people. And the socialization, I mean, that's real. I've done it so long that it no longer bothers me, but I feel like a lot of people do feel very separated, which is hard.
Yeah, I've grown to come to accustomed to it. When I started working from home, I was like, this is weird. I'm like, I'm so used to being around people. it's so quiet. So when I'm working, I have to have music on. I'm like, this is too quiet. Like,
Yeah, whatever it is that you need to do. I always have fresh flowers in my office because flowers are so important to me. My office is decorated super girly. So whatever it's going to take to make you happy and get those creative juices going, just do it.
So where can our listeners find you, Debra?
Thanks for asking. So I just relaunched my website. Yay. It took forever, but I love my designer. It just took us forever. So it's debralockergroup.com. Give it a look. Let me know what you think. I think it's fun. And then on social media, I'm Debra Locker Group and then Debra Locker Griffin if you want to follow me personally and see lots of pictures of my flowers and my dog and my kid. But yeah, mainly on Instagram and then LinkedIn, I do love. So that's Debra Locker Griffin as well.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, this was a great conversation. Like Dana said, we can just keep on going, but we definitely appreciate you being with us today.
Thanks, guys.
As always, all of our information is in the show notes. Until next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.